What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Omni Network today. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. Omni today, Omnomnomni, sitting here on the 12th of July at about $2.91. This is the exact area that we were looking for whenever it came to a retracement. Now, I will admit, on my last Omni video that I made, we did go up a little bit more than expected. We were at like, I want to say we were at like 3 something, 380. We were somewhere around this. I forget where it was. We went up a little bit more. That's nice. I mean, this thing was absolutely chaotic. Absolute massive pump right there with crazy, crazy volume too. A little bit of a retracement down to $3 is or even just below $3 is exactly what we were expecting. You could go lower. Of course you could go lower, but let's look at this here real quick from a low to a high and just see where you're at. Low to high, yeah, just below the 382. Maybe you do go lower. You know, this kind of retracement that deep below the 382, typically you wouldn't expect to find support here. Typically, doesn't mean that you can't. But you would expect either to go to the 0.5 at this point or maybe the golden ratio. So at this point, I mean, sure, not financial advice, not a financial advisor. I think it's a good time to DCA if you're looking to get into this thing. Sure, you're moving up with a lot of volume. You're not really moving down with volume, and volume is actually decaying as you're moving down. The largest candle that you had for volume over the last like 4-hour candles was here on this low. So, and you're right at the 50. There's a good chance you could find support here, and we'll go over that. We'll see if we can make more sense out of that. But just at the moment, looking at this on a first glance, I wouldn't be surprised if we went down to like 270, maybe even 210 at the lowest, but probably not below $2. Okay, very volatile, very, very volatile. And understand, not financial advice, not a financial advisor. Wherever you buy, if it goes lower, just sit through the pain, because clearly you're dealing with something ginormous here that's going to rip to dramatically higher prices. Dramatically higher prices. Okay, so just sit through the little pain and enjoy the big gain, right? It's not going to be that when we're talking about, even if you buy here and it drops all the way down here to my lowest target expectation, the gains are just going to, it's not even comparable. They're going to eclipse that. Let's look at the 1 hour time frame. Stop talking so much and actually do some analysis here. Okay, so let me put some lines here real quick. We'll put a couple lines here just to remember where we are, right? That's the 0.5. That's the golden ratio. And could we even go lower? Sure, but I'm not thinking that we go too much lower than that. Okay, so something in that area there. I mean, looking at the 1 hour time frame, that's a nice little area where you consolidated there too, so you might interact with that. You're actually finding support at this wick here right now. 1 hour RSI does look a little bit bearish at the moment. Looks like it wants to go lower. Typically rejecting the oversold zone like this, finding support down here is good, but whenever you reject, you should see more growth. Like, let's see if we can find an example. Something like, I don't know, something like that. That's a good rejection there. Or something like that. That's a good rejection there, right? When you reject and you dilly-dally like this, you might come back into it. And whenever you come back into it, you get a lower low. So I think that you do go a little bit lower. You form some bullish divergence. You'll have a higher low in the RSI, but a lower low in the price. Bullish divergence. You probably do go right down to there to 273. I wouldn't be surprised, or like 275, whatever that golden ratio is, or that 0.5 is. That's something a little bit lower. And you probably find support. What we'd look for, what we'd want to see is that when you go lower, you do not have volume increase. Or if you do have volume increase, you want a nice reaction, right? Something like that. If on that 1 hour candle that you hit your low, you're also back up here and there's a lot of volume, that's fine. But if you're like down here and volume's increasing and you close down here, that is not a good look, right? That would imply that we do go lower. And that's fine if you do, but just understand that would imply, you know, that's the difference between finding support at like 275 and 230, okay? 1 hour RSI looks momentarily bearish, and that's okay. That's totally fine. A little bit lower wouldn't be anything out of the ordinary. You look like you're in a massive bull flag, like absolutely massive bull flag. If we're looking at this on a 4 hour time frame, 4 hour time frame here, and I want to make sure we took this low to high, right? That's what we did, low to high here. Yes. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Looking at the 4 hour RSI, very bullish, very dominant. I mean, hell, man, what was that? 98.5, crazy, absolute mayhem for the bears, absolute pandemonium for the bulls. I don't know. Looking at this here, coming down a little bit. Typically, whenever you see these deep of readings, you don't go all the way back to the oversold zone before getting into the overbought zone. So I would expect another reading. It's probably not going to be as strong, but the move could be stronger. The thing is, you might get a weaker reading, but the move could be stronger overall, right? It's all relative. So this move, relatively speaking, got a reading that big. If you saw a move that big now, because it's all relative, it would not be as strong. It would be a little bit lesser. You'd have to see a stronger move now to get a reading that was as strong as that, because it was different, relatively speaking. I don't know how much that makes sense, but I know what I'm trying to say. I just don't know if I'm saying it right. I think we're in a good area to find support on the 4 hour RSI, but we could go a little bit lower to the 50. That's okay if we do. A little bit lower seems to be the theme here, right? And that's okay. Bitcoin's struggling, kind of moving down a little bit, and that makes sense. So you might move down over the weekend, right? That's what happens. So Not worried about you there, especially because you have less volume coming in. I just wish I had more to go off of here. Maybe there's more to go off of here. Let's see. From this high to this low, you hit your 1414 and you're back down at the 786, 886 area. I mean, man, it's not easy. It's definitely not easy. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. If you wanted to buy here, I have no problem with it, right? The only thing is I would have a conversation with myself. I would say, if I buy here at $2.91, $2.92, I will not sell if it goes to $2.30. I will only buy more or hold, either way, right? Because it might get a little squirrely here, but understand, compared to the relative high, you're at a massive discount already, 46% drop. You're in a good area to find support, both on the fibs and in the price perspective. You're in a good area to find support. It's not easy. It's not easy being cheesy. I definitely wouldn't be surprised if you went to 274. At this point in time, I have to say, I would be a little bit surprised if you went down to 230. But just because it's surprising doesn't mean that's bad. I mean, dude, look at this move was surprising to the upside, right? You can be squirrely. That's okay. Still get a higher low, all that stuff. But just for what would make the most sense to me looking at it, I like this current low right now at 286, 287 that you have. That could have been the low. That could have been it right there. That absolutely could have. And maybe you go a little bit lower, but I'm more keen on the idea that you stay above $2.70 than I am on you going below there. But just because if you go below there, doesn't mean that this thing's broken. Okay, it's fine. It's just you have to sit through a little bit of pain, and that's okay. Inevitably, whenever you do come up, and what I will say, okay, let's run with this real quick. Typically with the 1-for-1 you do wick just above there. So the fact that you wicked just below there or right to it is a weaker reading. Maybe you do go to the golden ratio. Maybe you go to 250. Maybe you go to this golden ratio here, not the golden ratio down here. Maybe you go to 250. That could be the low. If not here, then there. I'm confident on that. I want to raise the bar up a little bit. Okay, I'm thinking 250 is where you might go at the lowest. If not, again, you really could be at your low here. Sorry, I'm not more decisive, but it's not easy. Looking at it here on the weekly time frame, coming all the way back out, we take this relative high here, and maybe even this relative high. Let's just see how we're respecting this so far. Right above the 382, very common. Oh, and you're down at your 236. Man, conflictions. Like, this is exactly where you'd want to find support. If you go a little bit lower, who cares? But, oh man, it's so hard. Do we have any kind of clearance on the 15-minute? I don't know. Clearance isn't the right word. Clarity, that's the word. I take it back, guys. I take it back. I take it back. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but I think you're at the low right now. I think you are. I think you've got a relative double bottom. You took your downtrend in the 15-minute time frame, you turned it into a sideways trend, and now it's even forming into an upwards trend. These are all the things you want to see. It's the 15-minute time frame, so it's not as significant as all these other time frames, but man, maybe that's what it was. That's what it took. Look, you're finding support right here at prior resistance. If you go a little bit lower, again, 250 at the lowest is what I would think. Maybe 276. You're at 292 now, but I'm going to call for this to be the low. At the risk of being wrong, at the risk of literally catching the knife, as it were, I'm going to call for this to be the low. I think so, man. I think it is. And in which case, Omni, you're probably going to see a nice recovery here over the weekend. If not, maybe you chill. You're just kind of like in between here and there, like in between $3 and $4 over the weekend. And then next week, you should continue on a straight war path to prices. Let's see, you're probably going to go to your 1886 or higher because you stopped here 1414. You're probably going to go up to $8.84. Sorry, $8.87. If not there, then maybe somewhere between there and $10. And if not there, at least $6.80. I think you'll be at $6.80 maybe by the end of next week, if not higher. And if you're not here by the end of next week, then definitely by the end of the month, I think that you'll be around $10, if not higher. And we'll go from there, right? I'll make videos as we progress. But yeah, this thing's looking fierce, y'all. Looking real fierce. I mean, that's a solid breakout right there. That's a lot of volume that came in over the past couple of days there. So I got nothing else. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button. Subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one, okay? Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.